Well, welcome everyone. Shabbat Shalom, Boker Tov. Good morning to you. To the 12 tribes scattered abroad, as our brother Matthew would say. Um, we're blessed to have you here on Covenant Calendar Club. I'm one of your hosts, Brandon Muchmore, along with brother Jose and also brother Conrad. And today, I don't really have a teaching with slides and everything like that. This is going to be more of just a prophetic update of where I believe that we're at on, I don't even want to say timeline, maybe I'll just say time frame, and where I think that we're currently at and where I see things going in the very near future. So, and I'm gonna share my screen a little bit here. Let me just get one thing handled real quick. First, Facebook terms and conditions. There we go. Okay. All right. So share my screen here. There we go. All right. So now you guys can see where it says CDC November 1st, right?
No, we can. Oh, now we do.
Okay, you see it now? All right, good. Okay. So, all right. So for those who don't know, maybe you do, and I apologize if you already do. This is for those who don't already know, and for those who might watch this video in the future as well. But also, it's also for you guys to be reminded of what we're called to do with the knowledge that we have. We're called to warn others, right? Now, not everybody's under the calling of a watchman or the duty of a watchman, but ultimately we are responsible for the information that we have and to, love our fellow brothers and sisters with the truth, right? So this was on Thursday, I believe, which was, I want to say it was either Wednesday evening or it was Thursday, either September the 2nd or September the 3rd. But now the CDC has told the states to prepare for the COVID-19 vaccination by November 1st. Okay? So this is no longer a future event that's like long far off or might never happen or something like that, or like Mr. T's been talking about, like, oh, we're working on it by the end of the year, we're trying to get it done, we're working as fast as we can. He launched Operation Warp Speed, many months ago. I think it was back in I want to say March or maybe April when he launched that, right? And now it's here, okay? This is really happening. So I want everybody to realize, and I want to be clear with what I'm about to say. I'm not saying that the tribulation is going to start, that the Great Tribulation is going to start November 1st. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that I think we're going to have to make some really, really big decisions, critical decisions by November 1st, because this is going to be at our doorstep. Meaning, and when I think of mandatory, you might think of, excuse me, you might think of mandatory as, like you've seen those pictures online, like where it shows like the FEMA vehicles outside or whatever, and the soldiers, like rounding people up and like laying them down on the ground and like basically hog tying them and, shoving a needle into their arm. No, that's not what I think mandatory means. What I think mandatory means is what I call indirect pressure, because that's the most effective way, okay? I'm in sales as a trade. I've been in sales for like, I don't even know, almost 20 years, since I was, like 15, 16 years old. But the best pressure to use is indirect pressure. It's where the people don't even know that they're being led into a sale, you know, like they don't even know what's happening, right? But you're just, you know, gently leading them, guiding them, you know, you push them a little bit, but if you push them too hard, then they, you know, they'll bounce back on you, okay? And that's exactly the same thing. So if they came in hard pressed with, you know, the military, you know, going door to door, everything like that, forcing people to get it, everything like that, then they would have a lot of resistance, okay? So I think what they're going to do is they're going to start, you know, just like right now, you go to a store, you know, you're looked at weird if you, you know, in some stores won't even let you in if you don't have a mask on, you know. So right now it's no mask, but, you know, I believe pretty soon that, and I've talked about this before, that, you know, those like 9 or 10 companies that were up there with President Trump back in March when he launched all this initiative back in March, that I believe all these mom and pop shops will end up shutting down as part of the second wave. All the food will be directed, food and supplies will be directed and funneled to these areas, these, you know, 6 or 8, 9 different stores, you know, like your CVS's, your Walgreens, your Walmarts, your Targets, your Kroger's. I think Amazon was one as well. There might have been some other ones that I missed too, but I think that's what's going to happen. Okay. Then what's going to happen is now that they have you all, and when I'm saying you all, I'm not just talking to people here. I'm talking to people, you know, who's watching this later, but they're going to funnel everybody to where they want them to be, you know, just gradually herd them to where they want them to be. Then they can set the terms and conditions that they want to have, because, you know, and I saw this back in February when it started to happen. I saw this in the spirit coming. I saw it, you know, where, you know, at first it's going to be, yep, you got to wear a mask. Next, it's going to be temperature checks. Next, it's going to be testing, you know, right at the, you know, like, hey, come over here, get tested. Oh, you haven't been tested yet? Here, come over here, get tested. You know, and then eventually it's going to be the proof of the vaccination or the immunity certificate, you know, that we've been talking about, right? That's where it's heading, you guys. It is. But the point of this is the indirect pressure, because if I just say, you know, which by the way, one thing I have to look at as well is, because I haven't gotten a second source on it. We know that, you know, we established truth by 2 or 3 witnesses, and maybe someone else has, so maybe you can speak on it after I'm done. But I read an article about how the CDC is actually America's landlord now, which is a scary thought. Why is the CDC our landlord? Why do they own our, you know, the property and everything like that? You know, what's really been happening while we've been distracted with these civil unrests and, you know, these police shootings and everything like that? What's really been happening behind the scenes, right? But, you know, so I think how it's going to go down is they're going to just slowly but surely, like you'll show up, you know, you'll start to get notices, you know, maybe from your HR department, you know, hey, you know, once this vaccine rolls out, you know, hey, we're requiring everyone for the safe and security of, you know, the community and keep everyone safe and everything like that to go ahead and get the COVID-19 vaccine, you know, and they're just going to gradually roll it out to where, you know, you won't be able to go into a store and buy stuff. You won't be able to have a job. You know, I think that they're even going to tie it to, definitely going to tie it to government assistance, any type of government assistance at all, you know, whether it be disability, Social Security, VA benefits, anything like that. They're going to tie it to all that, because that's the easiest picking, is the ones who are the most needy, unfortunately. And they're, you know, they're going to just tie it to, you literally can't go, you can't travel. That was another thing, which this COVID pass, you know, that we've been talking about, it's directly tied to traveling, you know. And also this is happening right now as we speak in Australia. Now the vaccine isn't in Australia yet. I'm not saying that part, but the part about the harsh lockdowns and everything like that. If you guys want to know what's really going on, you know, obviously I never encourage people to wear or to watch the news or anything. I just look at articles because I don't want to be under the influence of their programming, of their witchcraft, of their spells that they're literally casting from their studio, you know, as they talk. But I will read articles, you know, just because the information's there without the extra stuff. But right now in areas of Australia, in the Victoria area of Australia, in the Melbourne area, they're under 23-hour quarantine inside of their house. 23 hours. I actually know people on through Facebook who are they're all saying the same thing. They're all part of the same family, and they're saying that they're under 23-hour quarantine. They can't go in groups bigger than 5. Okay. They have to social distance. They can't travel more than 5 kilometers from their house, which is roughly like 1.5 miles. I mean, there's all these different regulations that they're going through. And on top of that, people are being arrested. Just this week, there was 2 people that were arrested. One was a pregnant woman. The other one was a former Australian soldier who was arrested for making a post on Facebook, a Facebook Live post, where he didn't encourage people to go to the March for Freedom that took place yesterday or anything like that. He didn't do that. All he said was he was going. He's like, I can't tell you what to do. You know, you're an adult. You can choose what you want to do, everything like that. But after doing that, I don't know how long after. I don't know if it was like immediately later that day or how many hours it took. But shortly after that post went out, he got a visit from the local police department, and he was like up in his townhouse or in his apartment or whatever on the balcony trying to talk to them, trying to ask them questions about why are they coming into his house. And as he was doing that, they were busy breaking down his glass doors and bursting in, and he met them downstairs, and they immediately arrested him and charged him with incitement. You know, basically inciting a riot is essentially what they were charging him with. But again, they have different protests down there, not for freedom, but, you know, like for the BLM and stuff like that, that aren't being policed at all. You know, they're fine with that, but you can't tell somebody you want to march for freedom or anything like that. So this is stuff that's actually happening. All right. On top of that, let's look at the Facebook terms and conditions, terms of use. Okay. So, and I would encourage you, this is on my Facebook for now. You can go on I put it up there last night, but there's different paragraphs here. Let's see, here we go. So combat harmful conduct and protect and support our community. Okay. So this is what I'm going to highlight for us. Maybe. There we go. Come on. Sorry. My computer's not. There we go. All right. So people will only build community on Facebook if they feel safe. We employ dedicated teams around the world and develop advanced technical systems to detect the misuse of our products, harmful conduct towards others, situations where we may be able to help or support or protect our community. If we learn of content or conduct like this, we will take appropriate action. For example, offering help, removing content, removing or restricting access to certain features, disabling an account, or contacting law enforcement. Right there. Now, what's interesting, I don't know what Facebook's terms of use are in Australia right now, but it would be interesting to find out if they recently updated it before people started getting arrested. okay? But I think we got to take a big look at, you know, is it time to, you know, maybe think about alternative methods for social media communication? You know, I mean, I'm not going to tell you right now what a small group that I started yet, just because out of respect for the ministry, I haven't had a chance to discuss it at all with Tamara or Matthew at all. So I just want to be respectful to you know, their leadership and in a spirit of unity and everything like that. But it's definitely something we got to think about, because, you know, this, you know, we know that this terms of use popped up. I think it was right around September the 1st. And it said, you know, please read or whatever. And, you know, I just got the chance to read it. Thankfully, Sister Bethany sent that to our small little fellowship group, and I had a chance to read it, and now I'm, you know, telling others about it as well. So that's my thoughts. They're going to use indirect pressure. They're going to take away your ability to interact with society. Okay. You know, you won't be able to, you know, you won't be able to travel. You know, I think that you're going to see, you know, state by state checkpoints eventually as well, where you can't, you know, you can't travel on an airline. You can't, you know, even go state to state via the car. You can't do any of that, right? So let me tell you now why I'm telling you this, all right? As a watchman, I have a duty to warn both the wicked and the righteous, all right? So if you would, you can read along with me, Ezekiel chapter 3, starting in verse 17. And we're going to go through 17 through 21. So it says, Son of man, I have made you a watchman for the house of Yisra'eel. Therefore hear a word from my mouth, and give them warning from me. When I say to the wicked, you shall surely die, and you give him no warning, nor speak to warn the wicked from his wicked way to save his life, that same wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood I will require at your hand. Yet, if you warn the wicked, and he does not turn from his wickedness, nor from his wicked way, he shall die in his iniquity, but you have delivered your soul. Again, verse 20, when a righteous man turns from his righteousness and commits iniquity, and I lay a stumbling block before him, he shall die, because you did not give him warning. He shall die in his sin, and his righteousness, which he has done, shall not be remembered. But his blood I will require at your hand. Nevertheless, if you warn the righteous man that the righteous should not sin, and he does not sin, he shall surely live, because he took warning. So, and also you will have delivered your soul. All right. Now the key phrase I want to focus in on is verse 20, the bottom of verse 20. That his righteousness, which he has done, shall not be remembered. I want that phrase to just penetrate our hearts and minds right now, and for those who watch this later, because people think that, oh, once saved, always saved. I'm good. I'm covered. You know, I'm this, I'm that, I'm safe. No, you're not. It says to walk out your own salvation with fear and with trembling, according to Philippians 2. And also in Revelation 2, there's also, it's either 2 or 3, there's a spot where Yahushua talks about, he talks about, don't let anyone take your crown. That means it's possible, you guys. And that's a sobering thought. And what I'm here to tell us is that even as a community, because I see a lot of believers, you know, Christian believers and Torah believers, where they're just going about their everyday lives. You know, like yeah, they know about the vaccine, they know about, you know, Yahushua's return coming and everything like that, but they're not really acting in a way that shows that they know, if that makes sense. Like they're still caught up in useless debates about, you know, about calendar or about, veganism, or about, books that should or should not be there, or polygamy, whatever it is, just crazy, useless debates, genealogy, all this stuff, it's just useless. And they're not living their lives like they could possibly become a martyr, and again, I'm not telling you this to scare you. I'm telling this to prepare you, and also so you can go and warn other people, because we are responsible for the knowledge that we know. If we know something and we don't go and tell someone else about it out of love, those who Yahuwah has given us in our lives the opportunities and divine appointments to talk about this and to warn people about it, the blood's going to be on our hands. That's what the point of this message is. Now, as a watchman, it's different for me. Like, which people literally think that I chose this. I'm like, no one would ever choose to wake up at all hours of the morning and be like, and then here I am, Yahuwah, send me. Okay, first thing, here's the first message I got for you. Seeing, you will not see. Hearing, you will not hear. For they are stubborn, they are stiff-necked, hard-hearted. But you're going to warn them anyway, Brandon. You're going to warn them anyway. Okay, yes, sir. I didn't choose this. It chose me, But I am thankful for it. I really am, because, he's raised me up for such a time as this. I thought I was supposed to be a pastor. I almost became a pastor. It never happened, and now I realize, like, this is why you weren't a pastor, and I don't care if this offends somebody. I'm just going to say it anyway. But Jeremiah 1:5, he said, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you, and I anointed you and to be a prophet to the nations. And feel free, test it out. I don't care. I have been given prophetic dreams. I've been given prophetic visions. I've put those out there on YouTube and everything else. And, I'm just going to just tell you how it is, frankly. I don't care what man or woman thinks of me, honestly. I'm just here to warn you that this whole lull before the storm is about to be over, and that this is no longer a future thing that's coming, that, and I don't know if I said this already today. I apologize if I did. I might have said it last night, though, just in case. But I never was under the impression that the vaccine was being developed throughout this year. They've just been playing us with that. It's already done. It's already been done. It's just a matter of this, okay? We know that, because it's a combination, right? We know that Yahuwah is ultimately in control. We know that Yahushua is the one who takes the scroll. He's worthy to take the scroll and to open its seals. That's what Revelation 5 declares. Behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah. He is worthy to take the scroll and to break its seals. For he has overcome, right? For he was slain and he's overcome. But so it's just a matter of when a combination of when they were ready to spring their trap, and also when the ark door is closing. And this is what I mean by that. 2 Peter 3 verse 9 says this: Yahuwah is not slow in regards to the promise, as some count slowness, but is patient towards us, not wishing that any should perish, but that all should come to repentance. But the day of Yahuwah shall come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with intense heat, and the earth and the works that are in it shall be burned up. I mean, it's coming, you guys. I don't know how they know that it's coming, but that's why they're getting stirred up. The kings of the earth right now are getting stirred up. They're plotting a vain thing against Yahuwah and against his anointed. But I got a message for them. He who sits in heaven laughs, because their plans ain't going to work. Their plans are Agenda 21. Agenda 2030, Agenda 2050, sustainable development. They want us in mega cities. They want the Georgia Guidestones to come to pass. They want the population of the world at 7.5 billion. They want it dropped down to 5.5 or 500 million. They want everybody to either succumb to the beast and the beast system or not be in the world at all. And that means no longer alive. So you know, that's the two options that we have. But Yahuwah has a third option. See, he's going to keep a remnant safe, secure, supernaturally in the wilderness to be fed for 1,260 days, and he's going to raise them up for such a time as this as the two witnesses. And just like Moshe and Aharon called down plagues upon Egypt, we are going to be raised up. When I say we, I'm not even saying me. I'm saying that we, whoever is involved in that group, okay? Because I don't want anyone to think, oh, I'm good, I'm involved in that group. No, you sit at the end of the table, okay? When you come to the wedding banquet, you sit at the end of the table. If the king comes to you and says, come closer, then come closer. But don't you dare sit down right next to the king and him walk up to you and say, oh, no, I need you to move down over there. So this is an hour where we cannot be offended. We got to come into agreement with Yahusha. If you look in the book of Revelation, several times there's these interludes in Revelation 4, 5, and 11, I think also in 15, where there's a pattern, okay? The 4 living creatures declare who he is. The 24 elders declare who he is. The rest of the messengers declare who he is. And by the Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, we declare who he is, and that he is worthy to take the scroll and open its seals. And I'm under the belief that he has already taken that scroll and began to open the seals. And I'm in agreement with Brother Matthew that by the Spirit, he is the white horse riding in victory with the invitation, with the message, with the Paul Revere message. It's not the British are coming. It's that the king is coming. Hallelujah. He's coming, beloved. I'm telling you, we are in the end times right now. We are in the times that the people who have gone before us, the people who lay in the grave right now, who are rested in peace, who the dead know not, they are not in heaven, they're not in hell, they are resting for the day of resurrection that is soon coming, because he's on his way. And Satan is being enraged because he knows that his time is short. He knows that his time is short. So the message has gone out. That's why Hebrews 3:7, Hebrews 3:14, Hebrews 4, I think it's verse 8, all say today, if you hear the sound of the Ruach HaKodesh speaking, do not harden your hearts as in the days of the rebellion where your fathers tested me and tried me in the wilderness, and I showed them my miracles. That is the first invitation. It's he who has ears to hear, let him hear what the Ruach HaKodesh is saying to the assembly in this hour. And that's why in the book of Revelation alone, it says it 9 times. It says it 8 times in the first 3 chapters, that phrase, he who has ears to hear, let him hear. And in Revelation 13, it says it again a 9th time. That is the first seal. Do you have ears to hear and eyes to see, or do you not? Because if you don't come in, just like Matthew's been teaching us, if you don't come in to the invitation and come to the marriage supper of the Lamb that's in Matthew 22, and not be caught up in the cares of this life and the cares of this world like they were in Matthew 22, you get the rest of it. You don't get the first thing. Because right now I'm under the impression that the red horse is beginning to ride. Okay? And I'm going to touch on this. So now you won't get this information from the mainstream media or anything like that.
Daphne Rose.
Okay? You won't get the information
Join
from
the
that.
meeting.
But if you get on things like Twitter, even Facebook might have some stuff, YouTube, things like that, and you just look up civil unrest, riots. I use Twitter just because there's short little clips, short little videos, minute, 2 minute, but it'll give you an idea of what's happening because there's riots happening. And the media is talking about peaceful protests. I'm sorry, peaceful protests don't involve Molotov cocktails and, setting things on fire and doing all sorts of anarchist behavior. It doesn't, but the spirit of lawlessness. So the four horsemen, okay, you have to understand Revelation 6, you have to understand Zechariah 6. The four horsemen are not four beings, they're four spirits that come out from the throne room, okay? You got to understand that. And I believe, I'm under the impression that the red horse, that war horse that takes peace from the earth, is the spirit of lawlessness that Yahushua refers to in Matthew 24, where he says, lawlessness shall abound and the love of many shall grow cold or wax cold. And that's what we're seeing. And the reason why we're seeing it is this right here. I'm about to read from Psalm 81, verse 10 through 11, or 10 through 12. All right. It says, I am Yahuwah, your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim, out of Egypt. Open wide your mouth, and I fill it. But my people did not listen to my voice, and Yisra'eel would not submit to me. So I gave them over to their own stubborn heart, to walk in their own counsels. Oh, if my people had listened to me, Yisra'eel would walk in my ways, and I would subdue their enemies at once and turn my hand against their adversaries. But right now we're living in a time of like the book of Judges, where every man is about to do according to what he thinks is right. There's the morality, the light and darkness are going away. We're seeing the fulfillment of Satan's upside down kingdom, where the fulfillment of Isaiah 5:20 is happening right before our eyes, where they're telling people who don't wear masks that you're bad, you're evil, you're this, you're that. But in reality, they're the good people. They're just not the ones submitting to the beast, And I told people back in February, I said, get ready, because the resistors to the beast system and to the New World Order trial that we've been under, they're going to be viewed as the virus. They're going to be viewed as, hey, you're the reason why we can't have football. You're the reason why we can't have sports like NASCAR, college football. We can't have concerts. We can't go to the movies. We can't go out to eat without putting our masks on, without social distancing. You're the reason. You're the real plague. You're the reason. And we're going to be demonized. Just like you see in the mainstream media, it's happening. Right now, it's happening. People who don't wear masks are being blanketed everywhere with bad coverage, in a negative light, in a negative connotation. I even read an article the other day that said you're a sociopath if you don't wear a mask. Are you kidding me? Come on. Like, it's insane. But so let me get back to my point, okay? Because see, Yahuwah, what the tribulation is about, part of it, what it's about, is a moment where you have the rage of Satan, the fulfillment of, or the fullness of sin coming, and the removal of the restrainer in Michael the archangel as well, which I believe that has happened. I'm under the impression that has happened based on the demonic activity picking up, the spirit of lawlessness, the spirit of hatred in the land towards our fellow man. On top of that, I made a blog about how 5G is involved in that as well, and how they tested 5G on a couple of different monkeys, and one monkey was docile, and as soon as they put the microwave technology on the monkey, it became aggressive just like that. So I think that has an effect on us as well. But my point is this: part of the tribulation is Yahuwah giving the earth what it desires. He's giving them over to their own stubborn heart to walk in their own counsels. And he's saying, okay, fine. I'm giving you a taste of what it's like to live without me. So we will literally experience, those who are, in the world and not kept, like I said, in the place of safety in the wilderness, we will experience a little bit of hell on earth, a little bit. But much better to experience a little bit of hell on earth for one short time and spend eternity with him rule and reign with him for 1,000 years, and then, you know, after that, spend eternity with him, than to succumb to our earthly desires, you know, our fleshly desires, and take the mark, you know, and give in. Don't give in. Don't give in. Because the spirit of lawlessness is him removing his hand of protection. And, you know, they're trying to stir up a civil war right now. It's already happening. It's already happening. It's just you're not seeing the coverage of it. I mean, there's probably, I don't even know, 30 to 50 different cities where there has been protests, civil unrest. You know, I mean, peaceful protests are one thing. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm so for the First Amendment, you know, right to a peaceful protest, right to an assembly. That's totally fine. But the minute that you cross that line and you start damaging property, you're breaking the law, regardless, you know. And that's what it's about, this spirit of lawlessness. And on top of that, on top of us, because if we're busy fighting one another, then it's just easier for, hey, well, you were distracted fighting one another. Hey, wait a minute, where'd these UN troops come from? And we're too busy fighting one another, and we know that a house divided against itself cannot stand, right? So basically what's going to happen is we're going to be that much easier to take over, you know? And also I think that we're going to continue to see escalation between nation and nation as well, just like Yahusha said in Matthew 24 also. Even I think it was either yesterday or the day before, but apparently Taiwan shot down some type of Chinese jet, you know. So, I mean, that's big news for sure. So that's what's happening. And then also what's happening as well is you have weather engineering and weather weapons that are being used. Okay, if you haven't seen the movie Geostorm, now don't watch it today, because I never encourage people to watch like conspiracy stuff on Shabbat. Don't do that, you know, wait till tomorrow. But I would encourage you to watch it, because you're about to be part of it. You know, they're going to use these demonic technologies in nefarious manners. And already, you know, we've seen, you know, hurricanes. I mean, like half of the country's on fire. I mean, there's so many fires everywhere, and they're using, you know, dew weaponry. They're using smart meters. They're using all this kind of stuff to utilize this technology to start these fires, to cause this chaos to happen, because they want us in mega cities. They don't want us out in the rural areas. They want us in these mega cities as part of Agenda 21, 2030, and 2050. Now, I've got good news for you today, okay? If you're not aware of how long this will last, once the Anti-Messiah takes rule and reveals himself, the clock ticks and he's got 42 months. That's it. So, and I said you know, I inferred, I don't know if I'm saying the right word there, but I hypothesized or put out there in like February, March timeframe that, okay, I know that the Anti-Messiah, the New World Order, gets 42 months. So I don't see us living in this in-between stage of partially locked down, partially free, you know, in between, where we're starting to come under, you know, the rule and reign of the beast and the beast system and everything like that, more than 6 to 12 months. Okay. Now, if that was the case, that would, you know, lead us to right around Passover of next year, that time frame. I'm not saying that for certain. I'm just saying it would be interesting if that actually took place. I don't know, but I do know that I have my eyes set on a couple of different time frames. In October, right around like October 14th or 15th, the Pope is actually meeting with world leaders. I'm not sure where. I don't know if it's in Rome or not, but he's actually meeting with world leaders, and supposedly he's going to be revealing like human 2.0 and possibly introducing the transhumanism factor. And then the other thing that I'm watching, of course, is, like I said, Passover of next year as well, because we know that Exodus, you know, in the Exodus, it happened at Passover, right? So, and I'm not the only one who's you know, seeing that, but and I'm not even saying that, you know, for certain. I'm just saying that we need to be watching, preparing, you know, because I think we're going to see stuff really, really escalate. Also, so in addition to the red horse, you know, riding right now, you know, we're also going to see the black horse begin to ride, you know, and it's through this weather engineering, through these weather weapons. You know, we know that the wildfires are happening, or wildfires rather, are happening. We know that the derecho took place as well in Iowa. I think it was a couple of weeks ago, where 10 million acres of crops were damaged. You know, there's a lot of man-made engineering stuff happening where they're causing a food shortage, okay? They're causing it to happen. And also in these disaster areas, people aren't able to get help unless you come and get tested. You have to get tested for COVID-19 in order to get help, because they got to keep us safe. They got to keep the community safe. We got to make sure that you're not infected with it, right? It's all a nefarious demonic agenda, okay? But I'm not telling you this to scare you or anything. I'm telling this to prepare you, because we need to start living as if we could be forced to make some serious decisions come November 1st, you know, because if they start rolling this out, you know, November 1st, like they're talking about, then that's going to leave us in some tough places, right? And you know, I definitely see how it's all tied together. You know how, and I think Matthew in his Revelation 6 teaching, he touched on how the black horse is basically controlling everything. You know, the monetary system's controlling everything. And yesterday I had a friend who's in the banking industry, and he was talking about how he was at a resort in Miami, a really well-known resort. He didn't give the name, probably because he didn't want to deal with like repercussions of it. But I'm going to read you what he wrote yesterday. So he says, you know, on the left, these 74 stocks in the S&P 500 hit all-time records on Wednesday. This was on September 2nd when he wrote this, Wednesday night, I believe. So he says, anyone else see something seriously wrong with this side-by-side? On the left, 74 stocks are hitting all-time highs today. On the right, a major Miami resort is completely empty due to COVID concerns. Canary in a coal mine here. We've got an economic day of reckoning coming very soon, regardless of who wins this election. So, you know, right now, everybody's talking about peace and safety. You know, hey, we're opening up. Hey, just 2 more weeks. Hey, just, you know, hey, we're almost through this. We're, you know, we're turning the curve, you guys. You know, we're rounding the corner. No, we're not. We're never coming out of this. I'm not saying that to scare you. I'm not saying that out of fearmongery. I'm not saying that out of, I don't know what else. But I'm saying it because it's true. This is the New World Order. This is being installed right now. That's what this whole thing has been about. And I'm about to tell you this as well. I'm glad that, thank you, Ruach, for bringing that to my mind right now. Because in this second wave that they've been promising for months, you are actually, because see, the fear level, the level of fear isn't high enough yet, because they're all about order out of chaos. They create the chaos by, you know, using demonic technology within like microwave technology that mimics the way a virus would act. And Sister Renee and Miriam can attest to this as well. And when they poison your cells on a cellular level with this technology, you start to give off exosomes, which start to give your body symptoms of like having a virus, okay? And I personally felt this in January, February timeframe. Okay, I had 13 different symptoms. I listed them on those slides that I did. If you haven't watched the 3-part teaching on the CERN, 5G, Vax, demonic technology, please, you know, definitely go and watch that, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But But see, 40%, I can't speak for the rest of the world, but 40% of Americans don't believe that, this is even like a pandemic. They don't think it's anything more than just, a common cold that's been, blown out of proportion and used for nefarious agenda. But they also haven't seen their neighbors dropping dead either, right? They haven't. They know, they've done their research. Some of them, they're all of a sudden they're calling their conspiracy friend and be like, oh, dude, you were right. Oh, wow, sister, you were right. Like, I can't believe it. This is really happening. Hospitals are empty right now. Hospitals are getting paid $13,000 to diagnose someone with COVID-19, an extra $39,000 to put them on a special kind of ventilator that ends up inflating their lungs and actually killing them. It's not what they need. Doctors have been speaking out against it. But now, if they release something, or if they even turn up 5G higher, because see, during this whole lockdown, they've been installing 5G all over the country. See, at first, all they needed to do was just touch the four corners. Because if you touch a little bit of Florida, a little bit of New York, a little bit of Washington, a little bit of California, and maybe a little bit in the center of the country, then boom, you've got enough to be like, oh, see, guys, we're having a pandemic. We got to shut everything down. We got to do this. It'll just be 2 weeks, whatever. And then in the meantime, the real reason you can't come out of the house is because we don't want to see our workers installing 5G in your neighborhood. Hey, what's that guy doing on that tower over there? Oh, no, don't worry. There's no man behind that curtain over there. Don't look, okay? Pay attention, nothing to the man behind the curtain. It's the Wizard of Oz, you guys. I have a really good, I think it's a really good teaching. I don't know. Some people might disagree. But it's called Order Out of Chaos. And it's about the red cape versus the matador mentality. Are you distracted by the red cape? Hey, look at this. Hey, look over here. But, mind you, there's a giant sword coming right behind that red cape that you're not even paying attention to. And that's what is happening right now. And it's about to be released. And I think that you're actually going to see, because I actually know brothers and sisters, Torah observant brothers and sisters, 2 different incidents right now of families being affected, and they think that it's actually related to COVID-19. And I'm telling them, no, it's actually related to 5G. And I sent them a list of the symptoms and everything like that. And they're like, no, man, like we're out in the woods. Like we don't even have, we're up on a mountain. We don't even have 1G up here. And I'm like, no, you're not understanding. It's not like your phone's just all of a sudden, show up with 5G. That would be too obvious, because too many people have researched this. They're going to keep this secret. They're going to keep this silent. And they don't just use towers. They can use drones to target people with this stuff. They can use high altitude balloons that put lasers on them. They can use all sorts of stuff to get this where they need it to go. That's what the Starlink, I believe, was all about. I think I'm saying that right. The Elon Musk Starlink, with the 60,000 satellites that were launched earlier this year.
On Rod.
Join the meeting.
From there, we're actually going to see people. We're going to see our neighbors, like what we saw on the news with China, where people were dropping, literally just collapsing and dropping dead, because they're going to turn it up. They're going to make it to where, people can't breathe very well. And then, because what happens when microwave technology hits your cells, it causes them to vibrate very violently, which causes them to lose the ability to carry oxygen to your lungs, to your organs, to everything else, and your body will start to shut down. You won't be able to function. That's why you start feeling, like heart palpitations. That's why you start feeling lung problems. That's why you start feeling your lymph nodes swelling in your stomach. That's why you start feeling all this stuff, okay? But I'm telling you, you're about to see, but don't be, okay, this is part of the strong delusion. I'm very, very, very convinced of that, okay? Because you got to walk by faith and not by sight. Otherwise, you're going to be deceived. Because your eyes, you're going to see people dropping dead. And everybody's going to believe that, oh my gosh, we were wrong. This virus is real. The pandemic's real. and they're going to create the chaos. Then they're going to come in and they're going to offer, I don't think they're just going to offer one solution. I think they're going to offer two. I think they're going to offer on the right, on the left hand, they're going to offer, oh, hey, here's the vaccine, here's this, here's that. And then over here, they're going to be offering the hydroxychloroquine, the other therapeutics that they offer, everything like that. And I believe that that could be what causes, the pale horse, the death, where a quarter of the earth, is taken out through this. So don't be surprised. All right. The level of deception that we have to be looking for, you guys, is to deceive, if possible, even the elect. That's the level of deception we got to be looking for. We can't be looking at just the obvious thing. We have to look for the non-obvious things. All right. So, but they're using these weather weapons, this 5G, these DEW weaponry, the direct energy weapons to start these fires and everything like that, and all these natural disasters, these floods, the derecho to wipe out crops. There's grain elevators exploding, all over the country, all over the world. They're ruining the food supply all over it. If you a video I saw yesterday was actually it was by a Ice Age farmer, and but it was called Food Chain Reaction. So Food Chain Reaction was essentially a scenario that they ran right around the time that they ran Event 201 this time last year, and it was for a famine that would take place after a pandemic, of all things. It's almost like they planned it out. They did. But we got to remember, though, okay, that Yahuwah is sovereign. Yahusha is holding the scroll. He's the one breaking these seals, okay? But he is empowering, the beast, the New World Order, to take over, okay? They think that they're in control, but he's using them. Just like he raised up Pharaoh, okay? Exodus 9, 17? I'm going to read it to you real quick. Sorry, 16. So Exodus 9:16, this is Yahuwah's message to Pharaoh. And for this reason, I have raised you up in order to show you my power and in order to declare my name in all the earth. You exalt yourself against my people in that you do not let them go. And then he says, see, tomorrow about this time I'm causing heavy hail to rain down upon you, such as not been in Mitzrayim from the day of its founding until now. So the Anti-Messiah is the end-time Pharaoh coming up. He's raised up for an hour because he's allowing Satan to go and do the Job moment on everyone, okay? Because the part of the tribulation is it's our Job moment, okay? Have you considered my servant Brandon? Have you considered my servant Jose, Mickey, Renee, Miriam, Paula, Mark and Brooke, Beth, Carolyn, Jeannie, Roger, Tori, Ashley, Marissa, Eva, Chris, Cynthia, Heather, connecting to audio. I don't know what that is. Conrad, Stephanie, Keith, Phyllis, Marcella, Olga, Alma. Have you considered my servant? Because Yahusha told Peter in Luke, I don't remember exactly where it is. I think it's Luke chapter 9 maybe. But he said, Satan has asked to sift for your soul. But he says, but I have prayed for you. But I have prayed for you. Have you considered my servant Job? Yahuwah, he only serves you because you bless him. Okay, I'm going to allow you to take away, this, and that, but don't touch him. Don't harm him. That's what it's about. Brandon, I'm going to allow Satan to stir up your ex-wife to take away your kids from you, to take away your children from you, but are you going to remain faithful to me, or are you going to curse me? That's what the tribulation is about. It's an hour of trial. It's an hour of temptation. It's an hour of testing. How are we going to respond? Because the bride is cleansed by the washing of the water of his word, and then also by fire, by cleansed by fire, right? That's what it's about, okay? That's what it's about. It's that moment where who are you going to serve? How many times do we see that throughout Scripture? We saw it in Joshua, right? Joshua 24:15. Joshua lays before them, choose this day who you are going to serve. But as for me and my house, we are going to serve Yahuwah, right? Elijah comes and says, who are you going to serve? If Yahuwah is Elohim, serve him. But if Baal, serve him. But choose this day who you're going to serve. This is what it's about, you guys. There is no middle ground. Satan has lied to us and allowed us to think that there is a middle ground. There's not a middle ground. He owns the fence. Because I'm telling you, everybody who's not in that small remnant that's taken out supernaturally into the wilderness and kept for 1,260 days, you're going into the funnel. Okay? The funnel is this. The funnel, you come in and you come out the other side with either the mark and you saved your life, your physical life for a season, or you came out as a martyr. I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm saying this to prepare you. I've lived with not a fear, but a reverence of this since I was 16 years old. Deep down, for some reason, I couldn't explain it. I was like, I don't know why, but man, this king that I just decided to serve, that I think I'm going to end up dying for him. I'm not going to die of natural causes. I truly believe that I'm going to see his return. And people thought I was crazy, and I didn't care. Maybe that's why he was like, hey, yeah, all right, you fear me. You don't fear what they say. Perfect. I got a job for you. I'm going to set your face as flint, hard as a rock against these people. They're going to call you hard-headed. They're going to call you self-righteous. They're going to call you all these names, but you're going to be my servant, and you're going to tell them the messages that I have for them, because I need somebody who's going to tell them on my terms, not on their terms, and not, water anything down. And I said, he said, whom shall I send? Whom will go for us? And I just said, here I am, send me, because I got a glimpse of the king, and I'm trying to teach you guys how to gaze. You got to learn to gaze. Stephen, he knew how to gaze. Even in the moment of his trial, in the moment of tribulation, in the moment of him about to be stoned to death, what did he see in Acts chapter 7? That was in our Torah portion this week. He saw the Son of Man standing. He wasn't sitting. He got up and gave him a standing ovation. Standing ovation. He said, Stephen, good job, man. Be faithful even unto death. And that's what he's telling us today, because I'm telling you right now, we're about to punch it into the end zone. But you got to finish. You got to finish, and you got to finish strong. Because just like in Ezekiel 3:20, it says, because you did not give him a warning, he shall die in his sin, and his righteousness, which he has done, shall not be remembered. I'm telling you that as a warning, y'all. We need to prepare. Don't prepare just to, be whisked off into the wilderness. If it doesn't happen, don't be offended. Don't be offended. Ask him to set you, Song of Solomon 8:6 says, I set you as a seal upon my heart, as a seal upon my arm. For there is love that is strong as death, jealousy, demanding as the grave, and many waters cannot quench this love. Because he won't relent until he has all of you. And yes, I'm quoting a song right now. It's called You Won't Relent. All right? And I encourage you to go listen to it. because it is important. You got to have that intimacy developed. You got to have the oil of intimacy, that oil of gladness from the place of prayer, from the place of fasting, from the place of worship, from the place of reading his word and being in his presence and just basking in his presence, just marinating in it, just saying, Abba, I don't want to leave. I don't even want to go to my job, Abba, but I got to, but I long to come back and you teach me once again. You speak to me once again. We have to develop that because that's what's going to keep us from becoming offended, because many are going to be offended at him because they're going to think, their lying pastor told them about the rapture coming and whisking them away and, taking them out of harm's way. They won't have to do anything, or even, like I said, Torah observant people, if they're focused on, oh man, I'm one of the 144,000. I don't have to worry. I'm going to be whisked away into the wilderness. Boom, it comes upon you suddenly, like labor pains upon a pregnant woman. You are unable to escape. And if you didn't mentally and physically and emotionally and spiritually prepare to become a possible martyr, you are not going to be ready. And you've got to be ready, because when the rain starts falling, it's too late. It's too late. There's a song by the same lady, Misty Edwards, As in the Days of Noah. That's where my Facebook page came from. As in the Days of Noah was from that song, because it's that phrase has just gripped me forever. That Matthew 24. As in the days of Noah, so shall be the coming of the Son of Man. For they were eating and drinking and being given in marriage up until the very day that the ark, or that the flood came. And they did not know it was coming. But beloved, I'm here to tell you it's coming. I'm here to tell you he sent me here. He raised me up for such a time as this. And men and women like me put me as a watchman on the wall, said, blow the trumpet in Zion, consecrate a fast, call a sacred assembly, repent, turn your heart, turn to me with all your heart, with fasting and with weeping and with prayer, and rend your heart and not your garments. I want all of you, beloved. He longs for you. He longs for you. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. He longs for you. He longs for you. Jeremiah 2, he longs for his bride, Yisra'ЄL, when you used to wander after me in the wilderness. But you betrayed me. You were unfaithful. You went after other foreign mighty ones. And I warned you not to do it. I told you through my prophets, Moses and Joshua, I said to go and clear the land. But you didn't clear the land. You left them available. And then their wives seduced you and led you into foreign idolatry. And the same thing's happening, beloved. But now there's another layer. As in the days of Noah, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. They were messing with people's DNA back then through the sin of sexual intercourse between fallen angels and mankind, the daughters of men, and creating these Nephilim, these beasts that were chimeras. They were no longer nefesh. They were no longer the way that Yahuwah created them to be. And I'm telling you today, that if I was a betting man, I would go all in on this thing being the mark of the beast, because they're talking about it like it is. I don't care if there's not a temple over there. I'm not looking for the temple to be over there. Don't get caught up looking over there, because Revelation 12:9 says that Satan deceives the whole world. He deceives the whole world. It's upside down. What's down is up. What's black is white. What's good is evil. What's evil is good. What's bitter is sweet. What's sweet is bitter. This is real. This is happening, you guys. And I wish I had 100,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel, because I promise you, I would preach the exact same way that I preach right now with the 350 that I have, as I would with 100,000. But I've taken the talents that Yahuwah has given me. He said, here's your 2 talents. Go do with it what you can. And I'm trying to bring him 30, 60, 100-fold in the harvest. But I feel bad for those who fear man and not Elohim, who choose what man says, who choose to be popular. See, I'm not trying to be popular in this kingdom. I want to be popular in his kingdom. Hallelujah. I want him to say, well done, my good and faithful servant. Enter ye in to the joy set before you. Here's your treasure. Here's your reward. Here's your crown. And for me, here's your big cats. Here's your mansion full of big cats. I'm weird like that. But guys, this is real. This is happening, okay? It's happening. But we got to come out of her, my people. We got to come out of her. You cannot continue to, I saw somebody yesterday on a Facebook video, they're Torah observant. And they'd gone into a music store. They're wearing a mask. They'd gone into a music store and they were playing, music and stuff like that. And I'm like, man, that just wounds me. Because I know it wounds him. Because, see, when you're his friend, he lets you feel what he feels. He lets you think what he thinks. He speaks to you. See, he awakens me. He awakens me morning by morning. Isaiah 50 verse 4 and 5 says this. The Master Yahuwah has given me the tongue of the learned, that I should know to help the weary with a word. He wakes me morning by morning. He wakes my ear to hear as a taught one. The Master Yahuwah has opened my ear, and I was not rebellious, nor did I turn away. He's looking for friends, beloved. He's looking for friends. He's looking for the John the Baptist, John the Immersers, where, hey, will you call out to me? Will you be that voice in the wilderness saying, repent, make ye way the straight path, the way of Yahuwah. That's what he's looking for. John said, I'm not the bridegroom, but I came as a witness to the bridegroom. You actually prefer him to come before me, but I come before him to pave the way for him. And that's what it is. What did they ask John? I love reading this story. I tell you, I've always related to guys like Noah, guys like Elijah, guys like Ezekiel, guys like Jeremiah, guys like John the Baptist. John chapter 1 verse 7 says, this one came for a witness, to bear witness of the light, that all might believe through him. He was not that light, but that he might bear witness of that light. He was the true light, which enlightens every man coming into the world. He was in the world, and the world came to be through him. The world did not know him. He came to his own, and his own did not receive him. But as many as received him, to them he gave the authority to become children of Elohim, to those believing in his name, who were born not of blood, nor the desire of flesh, nor of the desire of man, but of Elohim. And the word became flesh and pitched his tent among us. And we saw his esteem as one brought forth of a father, complete in favor and truth. And Yohanan bore witness of him and cried out, saying, this was he of whom I said, he who comes after me has come before me, because he was before me. Out of his completeness we all did receive favor upon favor, and Torah was given through Moshe. The favor and truth came through Yahushua Messiah. And then John says this, because, of course, here come the priests and the Levites. Who are you, John? And he confessed to them, and did not deny, but confessed, I am not the Messiah. They asked him, what then? Are you Eliyahu? Are you Elijah? So he said, no, I'm not. Are you a prophet? No, he answered. Therefore he said to them, Therefore they said to him, who are you? So that we give an answer to those who sent us. What do you say about yourself? And he said, I am a voice of the one crying in the wilderness, make straight the way of Yahuwah, from Isaiah 40 verse 3, as the prophet Yeshayahu said. And those who were sent of the Pharisees, they asked him, saying, Why then do you immerse if you are not the Messiah, nor Elihu, nor a prophet? And Yohanan answered, said, I immerse in water, but in your midst stand one among you who you do not know, the one coming after me, who has become before me, whose sandal strap I'm not worthy to loosen. So he was a friend. He was the friend of the bridegroom. He was the friend. He rejoiced at the sound of his voice. That's what the friend of the bridegroom does. The best man. Yohanan was Yahusha's best man. He's not the bridegroom, but he rejoiced at the sound of the bridegroom's voice. That's what it's about. Are you his friend? Do you want to be like Lot, or do you want to be like Abraham? Because Abraham was the one who knew that Sodom and Gomorrah was going to be destroyed. Lot didn't know. Now, Lot still made it out, don't get me wrong. But would you rather know it's coming, or would you rather be caught off guard and caught unaware? Because this is what he says in Luke 21, verse 34 through 36 says this. And take heed to yourselves, lest your hearts be weighed down by gluttony and drunkenness and the worries of this life, and that day come upon you suddenly. For it shall come as a snare on all those dwelling on the face of all the earth. Watch then at all times and pray that you be counted worthy to escape all this that is about to take place and to stand before the Son of Man. Lest your hearts be weighed down by gluttony, drunkenness, not just talking about alcohol, but spiritual drunkenness. Are you drunk in the waters of Babylon, mystery Babylon? Are you drunk in pursuing your career? Are you drunk in having the perfect house? Are you drunk in having the nice car? Are you drunk in having the nice house? Are you drunk in having all these material things? Who is your Elohim? You can't serve two masters. Quoting Conrad last night, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't do it. I touched on last week that Elohim is spirit, and those who worship him must worship the Father in spirit and in truth. We got to worship him in spirit and in truth, because if we're not worshiping in spirit and in truth, you are committing idolatry. And I'm here to tell you, this is the last thing I'm going to tell you. And I'd encourage you, not because I'm trying to, I don't make any money off my YouTube channel, by the way. I'm not monetized at all. I don't have any ads. And I'm shadow banned, like crazy. But I would encourage you to show your family members the 45-minute video I have on who's holding the scroll, and it has a black horse on it as the picture. And it's all about the black horse. It's all about that funnel that I'm talking about, because the funnel goes like this. Because see, the reason that those are, I'm feeling led right now, so I'm going to go there. But the reason that those testing centers are called testing centers, it's not because they're testing you for a so-called virus, but he's testing his bride to see who's been studying to show themselves approved unto Yahuwah. 2 Timothy 2:15. Because have you been caught up in the cares of this life, in the cares of this world, and is my return interrupting your so-called life? Or have you been watching? Is your lamp full with oil? Have you been developing the oil of intimacy, the oil of gladness in the place of prayer, in the place of fasting, and basking in my presence and marinating in me and longing to be with me and taking the scroll and eating it on a daily basis, and you can't get enough of it and you're obsessed with it, and the world thinks that you're crazy, but you don't care, and your ex-wife took your kids away, but you don't care, and your job says you can't work here anymore if you preach the gospel, but you don't care. Because that's me. I don't care about this world. I care about his kingdom. I care about living with him. Living with him. That's what I care about, beloved. And that's what I want you to care about. Because you can't choose. You You have to choose. You can't have this and that. You either get this or you get that. It's up to you. But you've got to choose. Because those who are thinking, oh, no, right now, no, this can't be the end times. This can't be that. We can't be that close. We can't be that close to the mark of the beast being revealed, the anti-Messiah being revealed. We can't be, Brandon, because there's not a temple mount yet. There's not a temple over there. He's got to walk into the temple, declare himself Elohim. But I'm here to tell you today, beloved, that the word says that you are the temple of Elohim. You are the place where Elohim dwells. You are. That's what got Stephen stoned. He was preaching to them the truth, and they stoned him for it. Acts chapter 7, verse 47 says, but Solomon built him a house. However, the Most High does not dwell in dwellings made with hands, as the prophet says, which is why those churches could all close, those prophets of Balaam could all close, those prophets of Baal could all close, those Jezebels and Ahabs could all close their doors, and it doesn't affect the kingdom of Yahuwah, because he shut their mouths. No more will you lie to my sheep and lead them to the slaughter. That's why 2 years ago, I felt the call of, I don't belong here anymore. And I listened, and I was reading, because I believe that Christianity is a test. Are you going to follow the wisdom and knowledge of mere men? Or are you going to read the word and realize, hey, wait a minute, what he's saying doesn't match up with what I read. It doesn't match up. There's something wrong here. Why does he say that the law is done away with? But Ephraim is awakening. Ephraim's waking up. We're coming out of the judgment that we were thrown into the nations. Because we never repented. Ephraim never repented. Judah repented, which is why they were able to come back in 70 years. But Ephraim never repented. So they got 7 times the judgment. It was like 2,700 years. Back to the verse. Acts chapter 7, verse 49 says, the heaven is my throne and earth is my footstool. What house shall you build for me, says Yahuwah? Or what is this place of my rest? Has my hand not made all these? Isaiah 66, 1 and 2, that's where that's from. But people called me a false teacher. People called me a false prophet. I didn't care, because I'm not here for pleasing men. I'm not here for tickling ears. You want tickling ears? Get away from me. Unfollow me on Facebook. Don't come near me, because I'll stab you with the sword of truth. Don't come near me, because this is coming. And no one else is giving this message. That's why I have so much respect. That's why I came up and locked arms with Matthew Nolan, is because he is like me. He will tell the truth to people even if they don't want to hear it. He's following Elohim. He's not following men. Because, what is it? Acts chapter 5, verse 29, and also earlier on in chapter 4, you know, they told Kepha and Yohanan and John, you know, Peter and John, you know, they said in verse 28, and having brought them, they set them before the council, and the high priest asked them, saying, did we not strictly command you not to teach in his name? And look, you have filled Jerusalem with your teaching and intend to bring the blood of this man upon us. And Kepha and the other emissaries answering said, we have to obey Elohim rather than men. So you can't do both. But see, Christianity is teaching people, oh, Romans 13, we got to obey the government. No. Let's get some context. Let's study to show ourselves approved unto Yahuwah. Because that's not what that's talking about. That's talking about if it's a Torah-based government. which we don't have. We have a Freemasonic, Luciferic-based government, and the in God we trust is Gadriel. It's the deity, the Babylonian deity of fortune. That's the in God we trust. That's why we have it on our dollar bill. We trust the almighty dollar bill. That's who they follow. That's where they want to go. But these are called testing centers because he's testing his bride. He's sifting right now. Hey, I'm going to shake everything that can be shaken. Yet once more, I shake not only the earth, but also the heavens. Hebrews 12. And it references back to Haggai chapter 2. But he's sifting through right now. And he's spoken to me a few things, and I'm going to give those words to you. He spoke to me about 6-7 months ago, two things, and then I'm going to finish up. He said, when I woke up one morning, immediately this is what I heard. He said, don't be surprised when you see people's behavior changing. It's just the wheat separating from the tares. The other thing he said is this, and I was in the middle of doing a teaching one-on-one with my wife. Y'all feel sorry for her for real. Like, can you imagine living with me this intense? But he told me this phrase as I was giving this teaching on the black horse and on who's holding the scroll and on these testing. He said, those who kept me, who gave me the stiff arm, who kept me at an arm's length before in their lives, I am now keeping them at an arm's length, and I'm not letting them see what I'm doing now. That's a sobering thought, y'all. That's why he says in Matthew 13, blessed are your eyes for they see and ears for they hear. Because if you just treated him as like, oh yeah, you know, I only want to talk to you when I need you. I only want to, you know, read my Bible when, you know, when it's convenient for me or whatever. But you know, I really just want the benefits of salvation, Yahusha. I don't want to really serve you. I want to remain in control of my life. You know, I want to have balance. You know, I mean, you can't be too heavenly minded or you're no earth or good, right? You know, and no, he's not interested in that. He said, if you take your hand off the plow, you're not worthy to be in my kingdom. You're not worthy. And so that's why people are totally caught unaware of the time that it is still. And I'm talking about Christian believers. I'm talking about some Torah believers alike, because they're too caught up in the wisdom and knowledge of men. They're too caught up in their own timeline. They're too caught up in, you know, their own calendar calculations and everything like that. And they're like, no, based on this, you know, this is when this is going to happen and this. And it's like, no. What did he tell us to do? He said, watch. He said, look at the signs. He said, look at the fig tree. You can see when it's budding. You know when it's near. He said, yeah, no man knows the day or the hour, right? But except for my Father, which is in heaven. But don't just get caught up in that. We're called to watch. That's why this calendar club exists, because we're teaching you how to watch for the Tekufa, because what we're looking for is either this fall, maybe next spring, that shift to go back, and that the circuit of the sun to be shortened again, where he shortens the days and where the 5 extra days, balancing days, fall off.
Amen, brother. Hey, awesome, man. I'm really excited. I'm glad the Ruach was Yahuwah speaking through you today, and we really need that word, and for us to be, you know, doing his good works and giving each other the warnings that we need. Thank you, brother. Conrad's internet is back up, so he was able to make it. So Conrad, you have about an hour to go ahead and show your presentation. I think yesterday you did it in less time, so we want to go ahead and get Conrad in as well now that he's up. So, but yeah, good word, Brandon. Good word, brother. And you said you weren't a preacher. Yeah, right. I think a lot of people here would probably disagree with that. Hey, if you're prophesying, you're being a prophet. I'm pretty sure you're preaching as well. So
Well, I just meant a pastor. That's what I meant.
you're a pastor. I
Yeah,
love it.
that's what I meant.
I
But
think
I would have got fired on the first day anyway.
you would
I mean,
have too much fire and brimstone.
too much
That's-
truth. you
Yeah,
know?
exactly. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. We have to hear that sometimes. That's what makes people repent, right? Through kindness, or through give them the hard use, or sometimes it's just love. This is what they need.
Yeah.
But either way, you're doing it in love either way. So
Absolutely. Love them with the truth.